Hello, beautiful souls. Happy Wednesday. I felt really called to pop on here and support all of you with this message because it's something that I've been really supporting a lot of my clients with over the last couple weeks and friends, and equally I am moving through this as well. And I feel like it's something that's not really talked about in this type of a way. And so I wanted to bring this perspective and enlightenment, if you will, when it comes to moving through changes. And so a lot of us on a multitude of different levels, and this is really a very multifaceted experience, but I'm going to try and speak as clearly as I can about this topic. So as we desire change, there's something in your life you want to change. You want to change your money, you want to change your relationships, you want to change your confidence, you want to change the direction you're going, you want to change, being more open, being more honest, persevering beyond whatever it is you're feeling held back from. You want change in some capacity and degree. Maybe it's in everything, maybe it's in some things. It doesn't matter. You want change. Right? How many of you drop in the comments, how many of you are seeking change right now in your life? Even if you're watching on the replay, I'm going to hold you accountable to this. This is going to be engaging because I really want you to understand what it is I'm about to share with you. So how many of you right now in your life are seeking change? You're desiring change and you're wanting change. So you're actively going out and you're creating different changes in your life. So you may be learning different things so that you can in fact be smarter or more aligned with where you want to go. You are making the changes, so you're taking those active actions to put things in place, systems, processes, structures. You're having more open conversations, and you're equally desiring change. So you're allowing your mind to expand. You're growing the vision. You're allowing yourself to tune into even more or bigger possibilities than before. Yes, Sarah is seeking that change. Okay, so let's get into that, because when you start to desire change in your life, any capacity and degree, right? Any capacity. You want change at any capacity, any degree, any layer, any experience, period. Okay? That means things are going to have to change. I'm going to say that again. When you want change, that means things are going to have to change. And I'm saying it in this way because so often as a human being, we're very attached to the emotional exchange that we get out of where we already are, right? You can already predict this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to be my reaction, this is going to be their reaction, this is what I can expect, this is what's going to happen. So we have emotional attachments to the things that are already in our lives. And then we start to decide and desire, okay, I want change. I want change in this area or this thing or all of it. And you start to take those actions, which means that you start to shake up the energy signature in which you are operating from. So now things in all capacities and degrees, though you may want change in one area or two areas or all the areas, it's going to change everything. Because if it did not, you would be subjected to the exact same experience that you were already currently having. And if you really truly desire change, not only are you accountable to take those actions and learn in different ways to make the changes, but you are also equally responsible for moving through the emotional changes that are going to come up as well. And this isn't something that's really talked about very often. And so as I'm observing not only my own reality and the changes that are happening and how I am moving through those experiences, but equally what I have been supporting my clients with on such a deep level in the past probably 2 months, really like going deeper within that, is the emotional attachments that we're breaking, right? So I'm going to break this down into two main categories of what I've really been supporting people with, and equally myself. When you want a deeper level of change within your relationship, you're already subjected to understanding, processing, and being aware of what your relationship already is. Whether it's you talk about this and it doesn't go the right way, or you talk about this and it does go the right way, or you avoid this and it's just avoided, but you know that it's there and you are or are not dealing with it, right? So let's say that's the energy signature of your current relationship. And let's say what you desire is to go on a deeper level. You want a deeper connected relationship. You want more honesty and openness. You want to be able to dream bigger with each other. And so you're starting to make those changes, and you're making them in yourself because you're holding yourself accountable to being that person as well. Well, there's already an emotional attachment to how things were, or maybe even how they are. Which means that as you start to change the energy signature and you start to change your emotions around it, because it's a relationship and it has to be reciprocal, That might not mean that the person on the other side, whether this is a family member, whether this is a spouse, whether this is a friend, that might mean that the person on the other side isn't quite in the knowing, isn't in that self-awareness, isn't in the consciousness of that decision. And that's not a good or bad thing. It just is what it is, what it is. Which means that as you start to process new levels of emotions and energy surrounding that you equally get to either choose to hold space, or not even necessarily that it's one or the other, but you get to hold space for that person as they start to be presented with the mirror of where they are responsible for upgrading themselves. But equally, that means that you don't have to get off that rocket ship as you are growing and expanding yourself. And it's going to be challenging because everything that you knew to be true is changing, which means that you are breaking mentalities and emotional patterns and habits and physical patterns surrounding how it was so that you can grow and evolve into where it is or where you desire it to be. Let's talk about the financial aspect of it. Okay, so you're desiring change within your finances. You have an emotional signature and pattern and response to how finances already are, whether it's the phone bill is the one that you always complain about and you no longer want to complain about it, or it's the credit cards that you're sick of having a certain balance surrounding, or you're tired of being in the same position with finances over and over and over again. And so you're desiring to upgrade your experience with finances. So you start to read more books and you start to think different thoughts. And you start to change your emotional reactions. So you start plugging in more to gratitude surrounding money. Well, all that unprocessed, chaotic energy that's been stored in your system, whether it was stemmed from parents, your parents, of how they thought about money, or your spouse and how they've thought about money and how you used to think about money, and you're starting to alleviate the way that that energy moves through you, it gets to present itself in a temporary chaotic experience in your life, because it is the true release. The last stage of manifestation is the physical part of what we experience. 97% of our reality is energy. 3% is the physical part that we see and we use our 5 senses for. This is why tuning into your intuitive senses, your 6 senses, is so incredibly impactful, because you expand into opening up to being accessing the 97% of everything else that's going on around you. So in this example with money, you want to change your experience. That means you get to change everything about it. The emotional attachments to, the debt. Believe it or not, a lot of us actually have an emotional attachment to debt because we can predict it. We can predict it, and it creates a level of safety. So because it's created a level of safety, even though more like complacency has been mirrored as safety, or is being acknowledged as safety, right? You want to change that. You want something different. Well, all the other 97% of factors of what you physically experience are going to shift, which means that for a temporary period of time, anyone who goes through any level and layer of healing or spiritual awakening, you understand this at this point, or you're really starting to realize it in your physical life, because there's temporary periods of chaos before that up level. And it's not because you're not deserving of better experiences, it's because that energy has to release somewhere. And that doesn't mean that because you go through a healing or a spiritual awakening that everything's going to start crashing and crumbling and falling and breaking down in front of you every single time. It really gets better and better and better. Imagine how many of you have lived 20, 30, 40, 50 years of your life having negative experiences with money, negative experiences with relationships, negative experiences with health. And now last year, the year before, maybe this is the year or next year, you're going to start to really dive into that and heal that and understand that. Well, you have 20, 30, 40, 50 years of suppressed negative energy that needs to come and go somewhere. Energy cannot be created and destroyed. It has to be directed. And so when we start to create change in our life, everything around us will change as well. And sometimes temporarily it means, or it feels like, everything's falling apart. But I want to promise you, yes, that's a big word. I want to promise you that everything is truly working out for your greater good. And this is where, when things start to seem like they're falling apart, maybe they're actually just falling together for the first time in your life. You asked for change. So all those mirrors of where change gets to happen are going to present themselves to you. Because if they didn't, that means that you're not more self-aware than you were the day before. If all the mirrors of where all the chaos exists in your life are showing up and presenting to you right now, it means you are in fact doing something really extremely right, because you now have the self-awareness to be able to apply it to the things that you don't like that are happening in your life. But you can see, you can finally physically see the last stage of manifestation. The 3% of our reality is the physical aspects of it. So if you can finally see where the changes do in fact get to occur, then you are doing something extremely right. Remember, you prayed for this. You prayed for this, you wished for this, you journaled about this, you hoped for this, you talked about this, you manifested this. You manifested the changes that you want in your life. So here they fucking are. Here they are. This is where the work gets to begin. This is where you get to start directing the energy. Ground into that. Ground into the fact that it is actually working really fucking well for you. Because you now have the physical self-awareness to see, holy shit, this is hard, this is challenging, I don't like this. Red light, red light, red light. Right? Like, it's hard. It fucking sucks. And it sucks. But guess what? You're doing it. You're doing the work. And absolutely, you can regress back into the place where you once were, where it's like, if I just shut up and don't do anything else and I just sit here and I turn my brain off, this is all going to go away and I don't have to deal with this. But guess what? Because you became aware of it, it's never going to go away. Now it is your responsibility to get real honest with yourself, be accountable to where you're going, and lead with integrity. If not for anyone else, the very least, the most important, yourself. This is how we rise. This is how we change. This is how we evolve. Welcome to consciousness, my friends. Welcome to consciousness. We all want it. We all talk about it. We all crave it. But when we're pitted in the midst of it, in the trenches of it, it's easy to want to start becoming complacent. But I, for one, am making a pact to myself, and maybe you're going to join me here today, I sure hope so, to keep going, to not let the things that are challenging you to defeat you. They might temporarily, because let's not disregard the fact that it is fucking hard, and dependent upon the level and the layer of processing you're going through, it can be really hard. But let's not discredit the fact that you are doing something extremely right. Let's start focusing on the optimistic points of views and opportunities in this, because on autopilot, our mind will go pessimistic. That's where we really get in the trenches of, oh God, I'm going to throw up. I don't know why I put myself here. When I started to become more financially responsible in my life, I got slapped with all the mirrors of where all the times and all the experiences, and even currently, where I wasn't being responsible because I wanted to be more responsible. So I got shown all the places I get to be more responsible. And it's hard and it's challenging. Sometimes it's depressing to have that level of honesty and really look in the mirror of where you've created some discord in your life. But guess what? This is where you get to get resourceful. This is where you get to get resourceful. This is where your next level of investment comes in, whether that be time, whether that be money, whether that be both, whether that be networking, whether it be all of it, right? So I bought the books. I joined the courses. I invested in the community network experiences where I'm going to have access to the people who are going to be able to support me. It's going to cost me a lot of money to get out of where I am, but that's okay because I'm willing to continue to go through it. Some of you, that's your relationships right now. Some of you, that's your health right now. Some of you, that's your business right now. Some of you, it's even areas of life that I didn't acknowledge yet. Maybe it's even all of them. Let's not discredit that it's hard. But let's also start recognizing and acknowledging that you're doing something very profoundly and incredibly right. If you're being faced with all the mirrors of all the changes of where you get to be more honest and accountable and lead with integrity for self, then you're doing something really right. Don't look away now. Don't look away now. Go and have a really good cry if you need it. But don't look away. Ground into your practice. Keep pushing forward. Get into those spaces that are going to help you, because they are going to help you. They really, truly are. And I feel like in the spiritual community, there's this kind of bypassing of, if it's not in flow, if it doesn't feel good, if it's not in alignment, if you're not smiling 24/7 on the rainbow, if you actually are in fact being in a more masculine energy because you do in fact need to sacrifice and push through where you're at, that's bad. It's not motherfucking bad. We need balance of the both. Okay? Sometimes sacrifice isn't a bad word. You have to sacrifice who you were to become who you are. That's a really good sacrifice. It doesn't mean it's not challenging. You have to sacrifice some of the things that you want to do. Maybe that's family events. Maybe that's having 2-hour chats with your girlfriends who are complaining about all the things in the world. Let's stop spending that 2 hours doing that. Maybe that means you sacrifice the habit of scrolling on the phone to avoid dealing with what you want to deal with. Okay, those are good sacrifices, right? Maybe that means you have to sacrifice $2,000 or $3,000 or $500 of your money that you think that you're not going to be able to get back, that you've been clenching onto in your savings, to get you in containers to be able to learn from the people that you need to learn from. I sacrificed, I did. I sacrificed $3,300 of my money that I didn't necessarily have to spend outwardly in that way, to get myself in a motherfucking high-level mastermind, to be around 150 other people who I could then be able to have access to all the people and all the resources that I need. Sometimes those changes and those decisions are hard. And sometimes you feel like everything's crumbling in on yourself. But you know what? It's worth it. If not for the exact desired outcome, something better. And I always choose to believe that there is something better, especially when you're in the midst of the trenches and it's like, where's the blindfold? What did I do? Right? Put the blindfold on. It's all going to go away now because I'm not looking. False. We know better, right? We get to take that blindfold off with more courageousness on this next level and layer of your ascension and healing journey, and you get to just face it, because that's why you wanted the change anyways. It's to be more confident. It's to not have all the things weighing on you, to be able to not have the past and the mentality of the past and the habits of the past to overwhelm and affect you the way that they do. They have less of an impact over you. Well, you got to heal through that first. Right? It's not going to be an overnight change. Sometimes it's going to take more than a couple months. Sometimes it takes actually a couple years. For me to get to where I want to be financially, it's going to probably take me a minimum of 2 years. And there's going to be ups and downs in that. But you know what? I'm willing to keep the blindfold off. Sometimes I'm going to have to tape my eyes open. So I'm like, okay, I wanted this. I wanted to do this, right? Sometimes you got to tape our eyes open to keep the blindfold off. But it's going to be so worth it. It really will. So I wanted to share that message with you today, because this is something that not only am I moving through on variants of levels, but I have been supporting so many clients through this, and I knew that this message needed to be shared with you. So a couple things coming up that you can be a part of if you feel called is the first one. If you're a spiritual leader, I have a free webinar happening November 3rd, and it's going to be the 5 main things that you get to incorporate into your model, your content, your marketing, your services, your offers, your business, in how to help you stand out for 2022. So if you're any type of energy, spiritualpreneur, healer, coach, all the things, this is going to be a really powerful webinar for you, and it's free. You just get to go and sign up via the link in my bio. The other thing is, today is the last day to join the Expander membership for $1 for your first 14 days. And after that, it's less than $1 a day to be a part of the membership community. That's where you get access to trainings and healings and community experiences and live coaching and energy readings and all the things. The third one is, if you are local to Edmonton and area, me and Chloe Angeline are going to be hosting the Perseverance half-day retreat. So it's going to be tons of a half day of in-person. I'm so excited for this. I'm nervous as shit, but I'm so excited. So this is even where I am pushing beyond my own comfort zones. Talking to people is not necessarily something that I'm nervous about. It's just being the spotlight in groups of people. So, but that's okay. This is how we grow. even though I've done this before. So we're going to be doing a half-day retreat, 11/11. And it's going to be at my place. So it's about an hour outside of Edmonton. So if you're someone in Edmonton and surrounding area and you want in-person community, like-minded experiences where you're healing and growing and releasing and connecting to God, to spirit, to your intuition, this is for you. So for the retreat, you have to DM me. I'm not putting the link out for myself to have outward problems. If you're in Alberta, you know what I mean. But all the other stuff is in the link in my bio. So these are really great ways for you to be able to plug into resources and content, all of them at very affordable rates. The retreat is $70 a ticket. The membership is $22.22 a month, and the webinar is free. So I am in this space of like service right now. I want to serve you. I want to get you plugged in to your vision, to your mission, to healing, to understanding how incredible you are. Okay, before I go, I have to share this story because this is why I do what I do. It just makes me so excited. So one of the things that I do, regardless of whether we're doing a business development training, like spiritual business growth and training, or whether we're doing just self energy life coaching experiences in any of my programs, is teaching intuition, teaching you how to tune into that 97% of energy, your intuition, the language of the universe that makes up everything. So yesterday on one of my one-on-one coaching calls with a client, we're doing energy and life spiritual coaching. And we're at that point where I'm teaching her all about reading energy, which is like the best because of the light bulb moments when people are like, wait, what did I just do? I'm like, yeah, you did, girl. So we were doing energy readings, and so this is where I provide you with a name that I have been given permission to be able to use. Energy is permission based. Remember that for any one of you who are teaching intuition development with energy names. So I give her the name, I give her a few minutes. She sits with it. She brings through the layers and how I teach and all the information that comes up using her six senses and the accuracy. She was like, I think I'm in shock because it's so crazy when you realize how capable you are and you put all that physical bullshit aside, the mindset, all the things, and you just surrender and you do the thing. And you have to process, like you have to sit there and process the fact that you just did that. It's like, I want to do more of this. This is why I continue to do what I do, because it's those light bulb moments that I get to witness in people. It's life-changing. You can't go back, right? I just talked about how when you desire change, all the mirrors of where you get to change are going to present to you, and it's going to be hard and challenging and chaotic and shitty, and you're going to want to put on the blinders. And I said, you got to tape your eyes open and just go through it and deal with it, right? Honesty, accountability, and integrity. These are 3 of my 4 principles that I lead with everything that I do. The 4th one being healing, right? You get to do it, but because you can't unsee. You can't unsee those mirrors that are reflected back to you. And equally when you go through spiritual development, so tuning into the language of your intuition, you can't unsee your capability. So now it is your job to apply that knowing and that courage to become more confident in the direction you're going. So I wanted to leave this message with you guys today. There's those 3 ways of where you can tune into my work at this time. So the free webinar, the 5 things spiritual leaders need to stand out in 2022. The industry is a lot more saturated. People are going online. But the good news is there's the ways for you to be able to leverage that. So that's what we're going to be talking about. The 3rd one is the membership. Today is the last day to join for $1 for your first 14 days. No, I'm not giving you the finger. And after that, it's less than $1 a day to be a part of a community space. The 3rd one is in person. So it's $70 a ticket, November 13th. It's going to be at my place. I'm going to be hosting an event. We're a quarter of the way sold out in 48 hours, which is so cool. I'm really excited for this. And you have to DM me for the link. I'm not putting it out publicly for everyone to just be able to access. Hashtag Alberta, hashtag Chanada. So those are all the good things. I hope this message supports you today. I highly recommend that when it's on my page, you save this so you can come back to it, because what I shared today is radically going to change your life if you're willing to really tune in, take some notes, and apply it. I know we're all going through changes on a multitude of levels. We are human beings having a human experience. And when we allow ourselves to tune into the grace and the love surrounding that concept, not only for ourselves as we're growing and evolving in our own individual human experience, but also equally apply that outwardly as well, the levels of compassion that come through and the love and the acceptance and the forgiveness are just on a scale you cannot measure. It is so much more profound in your experience and all the things. So I love you. I hope this supports you. And for my membership members, if you join us today or you're already in that space, we have our live energy coaching tonight. So you can get access to it. All right. I love you. Have a great day.